Well, once again, here we are where we talk to the leaders in sports, business and entertainment, and where each time we find out a bit about their journey, a bit of their, a few gems that we can learn from them and the stories that have made them. And given that it's our first international guest, I thought, you know what, who's the best person that I can talk to who's not only got a great life story, but he can all probably teach us a bit in this environment. The 1991 and 1991 US PGA champion, let me get that right, John, and 95 British Open champion. Do you ever get sick of people saying that, great man?
No, I just wish it was more. It could have been more, but heck, there's a lot of guys that had great careers that didn't win one. So it's, they're just not easy to win. I don't know how Tiger, he's won 15, pretty easily, it seems like.
Yeah, exactly right. So how have you done isolation? I did notice that you did give some medical advice early days, and that, how people would actually deem that you take that as gospel. It's a bit scary what some of your people over there take as truth. I wouldn't have thought Belvedere was a good.
Well, the French came out that they believe smoking cigarettes can make you not get the coronavirus, and I did it just to kind of loosen up. If I'd have had some Fuzzies vodka, but I ran out of Fuzzies. That's what I usually drink now. So, but Belvedere's pretty dang good too. But, I was just trying to have some fun and lighten the load a little bit. But, it's the liberals that don't like me. It's the people that, just because I love Trump and I love what he's doing, they don't like me. So they're going to rash out. And then, when magazines, golf magazines, cut me down for it. They're just idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. There's no humor in life anymore. You got to have some humor. I've been in Arkansas. We've had over 5,000 cases, which is not extreme, but, when you're talking deaths, just over 100. And, it's sad what's going on, but I didn't mean any disrespect to anybody. I was just trying to have some fun and, loosen it up a little bit because it's tough times right now. And just trying to make some people laugh because we really need some right now. We need some laughter in our lives.
Yeah, 100%. And then I know you pretty well that, all you're trying to do is trying to have some fun and, lighten the load in terms of what's going on at the moment. And then people take that literally what you're saying.
Yeah. Over here, we're just wanting the liberals to open up their states in a responsible way. But everything's so political with the socialist liberals over here. It's so sad that they don't care how many people die. They don't care about their states for their people that need to get back to work. You've got depression, you got suicides, you got people, opioids, drugs, domestic abuse, and you got everything going on. People, as in Australia, they want to work. They want to get out. They want to work, and that's what our country thrives on. And it's just sad what some of these liberals are doing right now.
Yeah, it is. On to something a little bit more positive. I did notice that little John, is he playing a crooked stick at the moment?
He is today. He birdied his last hole. He missed a 6-footer. He finished on 9 today. Missed a 6-footer for Eagle to take the lead, but he's in the last group tomorrow. Got 18 more holes to go. So
how cool must that be? I know that, when you see things like that, and I remember when Jack Nicklaus had that, his grandson had the hole-in-one at Augusta, but when it's one of your own and you got little John, who, by the way, his golf swing, I had a look at the other day, and you can correct me on this because you are far more, you have far more credentials than me to talk about. His swing reminds me of a cross between Ricky Fowler and Rory McIlroy. Like the way he takes it away reminds me of Ricky at the top, and then on the way through, the way he gets through the ball, he reminds me of Rory McIlroy.
It's exactly the same thing that he has in common with a lot of the tour pros is how he holds his finish, and his balance is just incredible. His swing's not nowhere near as long as mine, but today the game's played with the wrists. It's not played with the forearms like we did to lift a lot of balls. So the balls are a little firmer and they're easier and they go further. So, they hit it so much further now because it's a wrist game more than it is anything. Power in the wrists.
And speaking of crooked stick, now we go straight into the PGA. Brings back must be amazing memories that you were ninth emergency. From a pure performance point of view, the thing that's always intrigued me, how did you go from all of a sudden you were ninth emergency? So it's not as if you're first off and you mentally prepare for that, but then how did you suddenly, not only you're playing in the PGA, but now in the end, the performance that you had. When you look back at it now, how did you suddenly flick the switch that you're able to perform like you did?
Well, I think just, having a good caddy that week with Squeaky. Jeff Medlin, God bless him, he passed away. It was Nick Price's caddy for a long time. And he knew the course. And, he just said, just kill it, John. You can hit driver on every hole out here. You can fly all the trouble, which a lot of the guys couldn't do, which is a big advantage. And, I didn't get a practice round for the first round. I fell in love with the golf course. I said, if I could just keep it somewhere near the fairway, the course wasn't that long for me like it was for most people. And hitting wedges and sand wedges and L wedges when guys are having to hit 2, 3, and 4 irons in, it's a big advantage. And luckily I got lucky and took advantage of it.
And that, was that something that, did you have that at the back of your mind going in? Because, and it's something I'll address later, but the advantage that you had off the tee back then in, what are we? That's around 1991's the PGA, but around that period, your distance advantage was even more profound than the longest guys on tour now, wasn't it? Like you'd hit it 30, 40 yards longer than everyone else on the tour.
It was. I mean, there wasn't guys. I mean, there's so many guys now that hit over 300 yards. And that's one, it's talent, that's work ethic, and that's technology.
Yeah.
Mine was more just natural ability. It was just the long backswing with good balance that I had a lot of club head speed to get through the ball. But, anytime I talk to a young kid or any amateur, I said, it's not worth hitting it a real long ways if you don't have a short game. And, I was up and down short game. I always believed in my chipping. I just didn't quite have the confidence to be one of the best putters that ever played. Like you see these guys are now. You got to putt the ball. And I was a streaky putter like Lanny Watkins. It just, man, if I felt it, I knew I was going to make it. More of a field player. And but it didn't matter. I mean, hitting it long didn't matter at all. I only won the PGA by 3 shots. And, it just shows that it doesn't matter how far you hit it. You can chip and putt. You can do well.
Yeah, exactly. And from a performance point of view, I think it's grossly underrated the impact that your win actually had on the game of golf. I think it's up there with, I know when Tiger won the Masters and you won it by such a long way, but the great thing that you actually brought to the game, I know the Rockers got the mantra, the People's Champ, but really you were the first one that come along. It was, the only one you can really compare it to is someone like Arnold Palmer that really galvanised the masses. But the way that you were able to resonate with all the golf fans that, you didn't mind having a beer, you're having a smoke. You really were like the People's Champ.
Well, I was an underdog, first of all. I mean, the great thing I had going into the PGA is I kept my card for 92, so I knew I was going to get to play the following year no matter what. And that right in itself took a load off my back. And I think anybody's, that can stay in the top 125 on a PGA Tour, especially with the purses now, you're going to make a damn good living. And it's crucial. And that was my first year, my rookie year. I'd already played pretty decent, but topped it off with the PGA. But it was just awesome knowing I was going to play in 92 no matter what.
Yeah. What would Little John, he's at Crooked Stick now, but what would be the fatherly advice now that John Daly Sr. passes on? Just say if Little John goes on, and we hope he goes on and wins a major like Dad does, what would be the advice that you pass on to him how to handle it?
Well, I can't give him much anymore because he's kicking my butt lately, but he hits it further than I do now.
He's just further than you already.
Yeah, he's I can get him every now and then, but it's amazing how far he hits his irons. And this whole time that we've off, he's Little John, he ain't scared to go put the holes, change the flags, get on a mower, cut greens, cut fairways, whatever. We've taught him how to do that. But he's a hard little worker. But what we worked on mostly this time that we've had together is I've told him a million times, you got to learn a 3/4 shot. So we've really worked hard on the 3/4 shot these last few months that we've been here. And I think it's paying off. He's starting to get it. And, it's just cool that he wants to learn and that he works his butt off. He practices hard, but also he knows that he's got to work on the golf course when he comes here a little bit too. But he enjoyed it.
I know, but you mentioned that. Do you think that's also, I think, a really good thing with a lot of younger kids nowadays to be able to really get back on the tools and you know, I mean, basically get that experience instead of sitting on their phones and iPads and things like that, to be able to get out on the golf. Mind you, it is something that he dearly loves and working on the golf course, but albeit he's, you know, I mean, out on the course and getting his hands dirty.
Yeah, he's not scared to do that. And, you know, he appreciates, you know, when we cut the greens and roll them and he changes the flags, he appreciates the satisfactory of, hey, you know, the greens aren't going to be very good if we don't cut them and roll them. So, and it makes him practice better, makes him practice more when the greens are decent. So we actually had a blast, and he's going to be gone for a little bit this trip. He's got a few tournaments to play. He's going to go back, see some of his friends at Bishopsgate. It's back open again.
Yeah.
And there's a summer program there that he can go back and forth to do, that Andrew, who runs it's giving him that option. So, you know, he just loves the game of golf. He loves to work at it, probably a little more than I did. I was more of a, you know, player practice guy. I like to go out and play and hit 3 or 4 balls.
Yeah.
I wasn't a range beater. Now I'll go out on my course and hit, you know, a couple hundred wedges a day, but my body just won't let me do the things I used to do. But I just enjoy watching him, man. It's phenomenal, the talent that he has and the dedication and the hard work that he puts into it. So it's going to be interesting. I'm enjoying watching it, and I just hope he wins tomorrow.
Yeah, well, look, I think it'll end up being a big news story too. It'll be, you know, I mean, with Little John and then having your history there at Crooked Stick. Plus, it's just an enormous buzz as a parent. I mean, just to be able to go on and win anything, let alone at a place where you did something special yourself.
Yeah, he loves the chorus. He says, "Dad, you're right. I could fly all the trouble," which cool. But I'm sure there's some other kids there that are pretty dang good too that are flying all the trouble as well.
Does he love telling you what clubs he hits into some of those holes, or do you actually then tell him and say, no, you got a long way to go here?
No, he didn't talk about it. When he got done with the round, I congratulated him. He says, "Dad, I'm going to Chipotle." He says, "My knees are sore, my feet are sore." They walked 36 holes. He hasn't walked in a couple of months, so because there's been no play anywhere, and he always walks in tournaments. But he said he was a little tired and a little sore, so he got him some Chipotle, and he's headed to the house to get some sleep and go at it again tomorrow.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, we've just come out of The Last Dance, and one thing I noticed in there is that Reggie Miller called Michael Jordan Black Jesus. You had a special name for Tiger Woods, didn't you? What did you actually call him? And you didn't tell him for a number of years the reason why you actually called him that name.
Yeah, I called him the BM. I called him the Black Messiah. So, you know, it's just amazing the things that Tiger's done and accomplished in such a short time. 10 years, you know, he was phenomenal. Just, you know, best putter, best ball striker, best this, best that, most major wins in a 10-year span, and set all sorts of records. And, you know, then he comes out and wins Augusta last year. And I'm pretty much the only guy, and there's been a few other ones maybe, that said he'll beat Nicklaus's records, and I still think he will. Yeah,
I know that in the time that I've known you, you've always maintained that eventually he'd get past Jack. And yeah, like, I mean, it's just fantastic, as you said. It's great for the game of golf. Now, when Tiger, you once you played golf with Tiger when he was 13, but you did something when Tiger was 13 that still left Tiger in awe to this day. What did you actually do?
I had about 200. It was Texarkana Country Club. I can't remember what hole it was. It was a par 3, about 215, 220, and I ripped a 6 or 5 iron, and it's an HT Max fire, and the wounding of the ball just came out, just landed short on the fringe, and he still says it was the greatest thing he's ever seen in his life.
That's a pretty good compliment coming from him.
Yeah, because he don't give a lot of them out.
No. And then how was your preparation? Look, given that Tiger said he had to prepare a hell of a lot more than you because he didn't have your talent. So what would you do from a preparation point of view? I know that, you know, I mean, there's different times over your career you've done different things, but when you're playing well, what was your actual preparation really like?
Well, when I was playing really good, like some days I wouldn't even go to the range.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm hitting everything really solid, then why bother? You know, I'll hit a few wedges and then go to the putting green and work on the stroke, get the feel down, and chip a couple of times. But, you know, I think Nicklaus said one time that, you know, if you're hitting everything really solid, you know, he's went and hit 12 balls on the practice range before he played in the major before too as well. And then if something's not going good, then it's take that, well, if it's putting, go practice putting a little bit. But I don't during a tournament week, you don't want to bury yourself into thinking too much. And
Yeah.
the last thing that I want to pop in I'm a field player, natural. If I get mechanics involved, I'm messed up. And Tiger, he has a few mechanics, you know, his swing, he's a perfectionist. He has a little mechanics, I think, in his takeaway. But everybody can say whatever they want, but I've been around golf long enough. I think it's just his takeaway that he gets a little steep. He picks the club up sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think for him, it's natural for me because I know my swing's going to be long. If I don't drag it back, if I pick that club up, I'm dead. And I see that in Tiger when he's missing. If he ever misses shots, which ain't too many, he'll pick that club up just a little too quick, and it'll be his downswing will be a little off plane, and he may pull or push a few. But you know, there's no mechanics in my game, so I'm not going to burden myself and worry about it. You know.
Yeah, and then how important is that for anyone in any sport and even life? I mean, about finding your own style and being comfortable to stick to it, because that's in essence what you did. You basically said, right, this is what I need to do to perform at my best, and don't be sucked in by what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I mean, look at VJ. I mean, I watch VJ hit balls and thousands of balls. I'm going like, these, man, gee, many Christmas. You know, you hit that 6-iron 20 times, you hit it right where you wanted to. He goes, oh, I can get better. I go, no, you can't. You're not going to get anybody. You're not going to hold out every shot, every 6-iron you hit. Well, I think I can. I said, well, it's humanly impossible, but guys are different. And, you know, whenever you have a little bit of mechanics in your golf swing, those type of guys tend to practice a lot more because they don't want to get out of it. I don't know how you explain mechanics to natural ability, but they all have natural ability, but there's some swing thoughts that some guys think about. Mine is just low and slow and finish the backswing.
Yeah.
I have one of the easiest things to remind myself every time I play. And a lot of guys, you know, don't have that. And I've been very fortunate to be a pretty dang good ball striker through my career.
Yeah, 100%. Now, people often say, like with you could have done more with your talent over the journey, but it's hard to imagine on the back of what you've actually just said. It's hard to imagine you not being you. You know what I mean? Like in terms of having your own style, and you know what I mean. You don't mind having a beer. You obviously have a smoke and things like that. Where do you sit with all that in terms of from a talent perspective?
Well, it all comes down to putting. You know, I mean, I've admitted it has nothing to do with smoking or drinking. It has a lot to do with putting. And I'm probably just an average, maybe a little above average putter. And that creates where you're not going to be as successful as I could have been. Nicklaus could have won probably 70 majors if he had putted a little better in a few weeks. You know, I think he's got 73 seconds or something. I don't know how many of those are majors, but one putt around, that's 4 shots. That probably wins another 10 majors for him. So people can say whatever they want. I mean, I could be sitting here at 54 years old, never drank, never smoked, never gambled, you know, did this and that. And I could be sitting here telling you the same thing. It's all going to come down to putting. It has nothing to do with anything else, you know. And that's the bottom line. This game is all about putting.
Yeah. And then how would you go on occasions? Like, obviously, you know, I mean, you've had a few missteps over the journey, but how are you able to show like the resilience where you just basically dust yourself back up and go again? Because it's probably a vital lesson for a lot of people out there at the moment that they're either doing it tough and either get down on themselves. But hey, I reckon if there's ever a poster child for resilience and coming back, that you've probably got some pretty good ideas about, you know, I mean, getting back on the horse. Like, how were you able to do it?
Well, you know, I didn't have, you know, I've kind of taught myself how to play golf, but I've taught myself about life as independency as well, because, you know, I didn't have the most positive dad, and I still don't, but I didn't really have a lot of people in my life pat me on the back saying, hey, go get them, you know, do this, do that, except for my mom and back in the day. And I was the last child born. I was a mistake. I was this, you know, I never got positive feedback from my dad too much. And, you know, if I won a tournament, why didn't you win by 5? Why did you do this on that hole? Why'd you do that? I'm going like, hey, Dad, I won. I'm good. I got to get ready for next week. But I didn't have, I guess you could say, the support when I was growing up in golf. Arkansas was not a favorable golf sport at the time.
Yeah.
Called fat, called a lot of names when I was growing up practicing in Arkansas. And now Arkansas golf is really, really great. We've had a lot of great kids come along at the University of Arkansas that are on tour that have won. Arkansas is a big thing now. And
Yeah.
for me, I firmly believe in this, especially through what we're going through now in this world. It's an old saying that tough times don't last, tough people do. And I think we all need to get together and remind ourselves we got to be a little tougher at these times right now, especially what the world's going through.
Do you think that also comes from the game of golf? Obviously, I haven't gone to the level that you have, but do you think that's also a great part of what golf teaches you the more you play it, because the game's imperfect. So you always have to keep preparing, keep trying, and keep coming back. Do you think golf has probably taught you the actual game itself has taught you the biggest lessons?
I think so, because golf's so mentally stressful. I mean, every sport is, especially golf. You're your own man. You've got a lot more boundaries than you do, let's say, on a football field or a basketball court or a baseball field or cricket or, the sports that you guys play, rugby and stuff. You have boundaries, and your goals are narrative. In golf, you have big goals, but we're changing the playing field every week. We're playing a different golf course that may suit our liking, may suit our eye off certain tees, may fit our eye for the whole course. The greens might be perfect for us. They may not. So our variable's different, and that gets your mental brain really working that, I've been on golf tournaments like, why did I play here, man? I'm on the 11th hole. I'm 7 over par. I played the Pro-Am. I played a practice round. I said, it's not that I don't like the course, just it doesn't set up for me, and I'm just going to lose confidence. And that's the thing you can't do in this game, in any sport, is lose confidence. And between my injuries and everything that I've gone through, it's easy to lose confidence.
And what about when you've let off steam? On a bit of a lighter note, what would you say would have been your absolute best meltdown post round? Like, what is one that sticks in your mind where you go, holy shit, that was even by my standard, that was good?
Well, I've been a binge drinker. I can go 3 months without drinking. I could binge drink for 10 straight days. But, I think for me is I've back probably about the last 20 years of my life, I don't get upset as much. I don't worry about it as much. If I shoot 82, I'm not going to, okay, I can just go out and get bombed like I did, when I was younger and just, all right, this tournament's over. But nothing really bothers me that much anymore. Maybe I've gotten older, but there's been some times that I won tournaments that I binge drank for a couple of weeks celebrating it, like the PGA. The British Open, when I won it, I wasn't even drinking. I went 2 or 3 years, or actually 5 or 6 years not drinking. And but I think with my personality, Corey, I think I can learn to have fun kind of in any element. Besides, God bless, knock on wood, losing a child or losing a best friend. I've lost a few of those. I've lost a lot of people in my life, but we've got to put some humor in something. And I kind of take everything with a grain of salt now. It's not that big of a deal to me anymore.
Yeah. And speaking of the Open in 95, like going into the Open in 95, you weren't actually really playing that well. And you just felt, how did you discover your spark going into the Open? And I know that you do speak with a lot of fondness, that you do say that St Andrews is by far and away your favourite course in the world.
I think that helped. I was ready to quit golf going into that week. I didn't want to. I was playing so bad, nothing was going right. Every aspect of my game, I just couldn't seem to get anything going.
Yeah.
When I started saying if the Scottish could have drank a little quicker and been 14 holes, I'd have won 76 majors instead of being 18 holes. But St Andrews was the perfect fit at the right time in my life. Whether I would have won or not, I think I would have played good either way, because, like I said earlier, if it's a course that suits my eye and it feels good, you're going to play good. And it goes back to Tiger. I mean, everybody wished Tiger would have played more tournaments when he was going on that 10-year run. Why wouldn't he? Well, the courses didn't suit him. He played the courses that he thought gave himself the best chance to win. And if there's anything I regret, it's probably trying to do too many favors for tournament organizers and feeling bad if I don't play their tournament. But playing a golf course that don't suit your eye, that you don't have confidence in, it's not going to help you going into the next week either. So,
Yeah.
but St. Andrews in '95, it was a perfect fit. I mean, it just, everything about that place, everything about the golf course. Even as old as I am now, I still think I could win there and play good there. It's the course that suits me.
Which is quite interesting because I think you're perceived as somewhat anti-establishment, and I mean, obviously now your loudmouth apparel and things like that. It's probably the last place that people would think is your favourite course. But I've heard you talk many times that it's by far and away your favourite course in the world by a long way.
I love links golf. I think it goes back to that natural feel thing. I'm not scared to hit a 7-iron 110 yards or 102 yards. I'm not scared to putt from 100 yards or 75 yards off a green. I'm not scared to hit shots that, in certain moments that honestly that I feel like a lot of guys don't have because they don't like links golf. A lot of Americans went over and they love links golf, but there's a lot that just can't stand it because they don't feel confident enough to hit certain shots that they would never hit at home.
Yeah.
You got to learn to chip and let that ball roll, 70 yards if it needs to. It's just, to me, it's fun. It's just different of the same old thing in America. Hit it high, let it fly, and the ball hits and stops. I mean, that's great. That's awesome, don't get me wrong, but to do an element of the way the game was learned to play back in the day, you don't fly greens on a lot of British Open courses. You don't fly them on there. A lot of them you've got to watch for the release. You've got to hit shots that you're not comfortable with, and I'm comfortable trying to hit any shot.
And when I was doing a bit of research for this, do you realise how close in the third round? For those that don't know, the last hole at St Andrews, it's about 350 yards, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's about 350 yards. Now, I think you might have been a bit hot under the collar after you double bogeyed 17. You basically drove the 18th green. You came about 2 feet. You realise you came 2 feet from going out of bounds through the back of the green where it rolled up a little embankment and then rolled back down. You then putted on, made birdie, and then go into the final round where you're only 4 shots behind. But then you need that sort of luck to be able to win majors.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, winning the PGA. I mean, there's always a little bit of luck involved anytime you win any tournament or any major. Tiger can say it, everyone he's ever won. The ball hits a tree, comes back in play, and there's 5 feet. If it goes a little right 5 feet, it's out of bounds. Next thing you know, the tournament's over. You lose.
Yeah,
it's part of that in that winning thing that you take advantage of it. And I mean, there's every tournament that anybody ever wins could say, that second round, you hit the flagstick on a 60-yard chip, it would have rolled over and went in the water. I could have made double. It's just golf. It's just crazy. But that ball was very close. I saw it going up the steps, and I honestly thought it was going to go out of bounds, but got lucky and it came back down, basically almost 10 high.
This episode is brought to you by National Make Good Solutions, experts in taking your commercial property back to the day it was built at the end of your lease. So you could actually see that from the tee, like you could see it up that little embankment near the old clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, heart would have been in your mouth at that point. And then going into that final round, I know you've mentioned a few times, again, you're not usually the word that we're probably going to associate with you, but you used the word how patient you were in that final round, even though it was crazy how windy it was. But just to be able to have that patience in the final round of a major, how did you find that calmness going into the final round or during the final round?
Well, one, I wasn't expected to win, being 4 shots out, and then I think I was 2 or 3 under par going into 8.
Yeah,
I hit a great 8-iron from I don't know how far, and I can't remember if I made the putt or not. But then I hit driver on 9. I hit it left, and it's in between the shrubs, and it's on a little service road. I mean, that's 2 or 3 feet from being just really making 7 or 8, and I got lucky and hit a wedge up there. And I don't know if I bogeyed par or birdied, but that's the breaks you're talking about. So that was probably just as big as the one Saturday on 18, almost going out of bounds. But other than that, I thought the British Open, I just played my game. I didn't really think I had a chance to win. Then I saw Campbell struggling a little bit at the beginning, and next thing you know, I'm tied with him, and I've got like 5 holes left, and he kind of fell back a little bit. And not, if he birdies 18, I don't know if he was in the playoff or not either. But the remarkable thing about that is Constantino Rocco, not the 60, 70 footer he made on 18 after he cheated it. It's behind the green, getting it up and down. I think people forget how that ball, he putted and it was going like this.
What about the first part where he hits it? People don't see it. It actually does this huge bounce in the air. It was lucky to get up the embankment itself.
Probably went up 2 or 3 feet in the air. I mean, if he'd have followed through big, he could have hit that putt. He could have hit that putt or chip or whatever it was. He could have hit the ball in the air. I mean, so he could have double hit it. But it was just amazing. What a thrill. I mean, I thank God the RNA just goes right to that first playoff hole, because if he'd had 30 minutes to go to the range, settle, calm his nerves a little bit, it could have been a different story, And
where am I going to find it now? I don't know whether you can see this. I actually found this book of mine, and this, I think, when it really hits home. So there's this book on St Andrews that I found, but then when I go to the page, and then it has a picture like that, and you and I have spoken about this before. Like, that's when you see the sorts of people that are in there that have won the Open at St Andrews. Like, you're talking like Nick Faldo, Tiger Woods, all the greatest of great names have won at St Andrews. How special is it that you're a part of that?
Well, it's pretty special, especially when the greatest player that ever played, Nicklaus, says if you win at St Andrews, the British Open, your career is pretty much complete. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to hear from a man like that.
And then it was how cool was it? Just, and again, you mentioned some of those guys. I did see it a couple of years ago where they played that Champions Challenge, where you basically played with all the champions that have the one that was it all the British Open champions, or all the people who won the Open at St Andrews?
I think it was just all the people that had won the British Open.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to get to play with Palmer, but he was right in front of me, I think. But that was an awesome day, a great day to just have some fun and relax a little bit before the tournament started.
Is that one of your favourite parts? I did notice you were wearing some vintage loudmouth gear that day. You did stand out in the team photo a little bit.
Yeah, I think I wore the Yankees baseball. The Cardinals are my team, but I wore the Yankees baseball thing in that little outing, and then I wore my St. Louis Cardinal baseball sport coat at the dinner.
Yeah.
And it got played on the Jumbotron at Busch Stadium the next day before the Cardinals had their game, and it's pretty cool. And we were going to have the Cardinals were going to have a John Daly Day. I think it was April 20th, Monday, right after Atlanta this year. But of course, we got canceled. But they're going to give. I think I got one. They were going to give these out. Like I don't know how many thousands, like 30,000 of them. They made a John Daly Cardinal bobblehead.
They got to get one of those.
And they were going to give them all out, and hopefully we can reschedule it for next year or something. Because Loudmouth, we have all the baseball teams, so everybody knows I'm a diehard Cardinal fan, but I also love the A's athletics. I love them. I've always loved them in the 70s.
Yeah.
Same as the NFL football. It's National American, so Steelers I've always loved, but Cowboys are my number one team.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool to be honored by the Cardinals like that. I just wish it could have happened.
You've made it in life when you become a bobblehead.
Yeah, but let me see. I might have some more. Here's the one Insperity did for me my first year on the Champions Tour. And we got that one going for me. We got this was in Birmingham. They did that one for me too. So I got 3 of them, babe. And the Arkansas Travelers, I haven't got that one, but the baseball team here in Arkansas did one for me. So I wonder if I have more than Tiger.
You might have more bobble.
The only thing I might have more than Tiger. I think 4 bobbleheads is all I got.
You're leading Tiger in bobbleheads, and he's got you in majors.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't mind Tiger's bank account, though.
No, right? Too many people got Tiger's bank account.
Now, with it, yeah. We were talking about your style before. How much was it hard to resist, like people actually telling you how far? I mean, you obviously swing the club incredibly long, longer than anyone that's ever played the game. How much, again, was it to resist coaches and people saying, John, that won't work, but you were true to form and kept your own style?
Well, if I would have tried to change my swing, there's one thing I had, low and slow, and when the club would come back and I see it in the corner of my eye, that's when I knew to go down because coming through the ball.
That was the transition.
If I'd have tried to change that and get it to parallel and not see the club, I wouldn't know when to come down, and my whole game would have just been crap. I mean,
yeah.
And I just told everybody, there's coaches that said you'll never play college golf, you'll never make it big in golf, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it all comes down to the short game. If you got a decent short game, you can play this game.
And I'll tell you what, for everyone out there, like you talk about distance, and obviously John had that reputation for hitting the ball long. For 8 years in a row, he was the longest on the PGA Tour, the first player to average over 300 yards, and in 2002, 306 yards. Now, the question I've got, we all know that in 2002, the equipment and how far the ball was going then, and even the driver, how do you think you'd go now? When I had a look on the PGA Tour at the moment, now that Bryson DeChambeau has basically bulked up beyond belief, he's averaging only, when I say only now, it's 321 yards. So this is circa 20 years ago, and they've only got you by about, what is it, maybe about 14 or 15 yards. How would John Daly now, with a Pro V1 and your driver of choice at your prime, go against these guys?
I don't know. It'd be the same thing as you look at before I came out with Nicklaus, and Nicklaus was long, and Tom Weiskopf was probably the longest I heard on the tour in those days. You can ask them the same questions about when I was playing a persimmon head wood better than the persimmon head wood they were playing, with the ball getting better and better as it went along.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, for me to be 54 years old, and I think I would still be maybe top 20 in their driving stat, is pretty phenomenal if I played the PGA Tour. If I had my card and played it. I don't even know what I am on the senior tour right now. I don't know if I think I led that last year, but I don't know what that is. But
do you
guys
think,
bomb it now.
What are your thoughts on it? Like, you've always hit the ball long, and I think the biggest difference, as I alluded to before, is that the difference in between, you were 30 yards longer than the average way back when, but then nowadays the difference between the longest guys and the average now is only about 20 yards instead of being 30 yards. So it just shows you everyone else has got longer with the equipment as well. But do you think it needs to be wound back in order to protect some of these golf courses that we've got?
Well, my only concern is why make golf courses spend so much more money than they have to, and take away some of their history when you're going to, the golf ball does go so far. So my belief would be the golf ball companies make so much money, but how do you draw it back? Which company gets to draw it back? Which company gets it? Who's going to make the money? It all comes down to money. And you got so many good golf ball companies out there. I mean, Titleist I play, they're the number one. They make the best ball because they've been the best ball for so many years. Do you give that to them? Or, you got Callaway, you got TaylorMade, you got all these great names of golf balls in the mix. You're going to make them all bring it back, which they all can do it. Then you got patent infringements. How are you going to do it? I mean, it's just impossible. But I wish it could be done. I mean, there's too much money involved. There's too many rules and patents that are going to probably keep that from happening. But it would be cool to let these courses be able to save some money, because I own a course. Let me tell you something. Just putting a new tee box in and with a sprinkler system and all that, I mean, you're looking at 10, 15 grand if you do it right. So, it's just impossible. I mean, golf courses are expensive. Golf balls aren't so expensive. So if they could figure a way to draw everybody back, it'd be pretty cool.
And, just to prove that point, the 13th hole at Augusta National, they've now bought, I think, a portion of Augusta Country Club, so they can, in the end, like lengthen the 13th hole at Augusta, which it's a shame because it's one of the great holes in world golf.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's you're taking away a long hitter's advantage. You know, just because some guy's a great player that doesn't hit as far as you, a long hitter should not be penalized that. And then what are you going to do? You're going to end up moving the tee up when the wind's in your face because of the average of the distance of the drive. So if that corner is going to be 315 to get around it, or 320 instead of 285 or 290, what it is now, you're going to have to move the tee up so it gives everybody a fair chance to get around the corner to go for the green. So I don't know. Augusta's got more money than they know what to do with, and whatever they do, it's going to be beautiful. And prices, it's the greatest place on earth and golf course on earth to play a major. And I'm still St. Andrews, but the cool thing about Augusta, it's there every year, and it just doesn't get any prettier. It really doesn't. It's the best, and they can do whatever they want. But you know, like I said, they'll probably end up having to move that tee right where they used to play from just to make it fair for everybody.
Yeah, and I think from a bit of a business point of view, which I was going to talk about later, but that's usually a pretty solid week for John Daly Masters Week, where you set up at Hooters, and it's a pretty big week for you. Even though you're not playing in the actual Masters, you usually find that you're usually top 4 or top 5.
Sometimes, maybe. I mean, we have good weeks. I mean, we have some fun there. You know, I've been doing it for so long, Corey, since '97. Even when I was playing the Masters, I was there selling my merch and keeping the Lion logo out, keeping my name out there, and giving people a good product for not as big as price as what they'd pay in a lot of places. So,
yeah.
And I love people, and you know, it's just something it's kind of a trend now. It's just kind of something that just goes with Augusta, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. And Hooters has just been phenomenal over the years with me, and we've had a good time. And it just wouldn't. It's a week that I just know that I'm planning for every year, and Hooters wants me there. As long as they want me there, I'll keep coming back. And as long as Augusta and the fans want me there, I'm going to keep coming back because it is a blast of a week. It's the first tournament I go to that I'm not playing that I actually have fun.
Yeah. And then what will you do this year with the change of date? Will you go back in November for Masters Week in November?
I'll plan to. It's going to be pretty tough. We have our finals in Phoenix the week before that. So Anna's going to have to be doing some hustling.
I was just about to say, Anna's got some trucking to do.
She'll get the trailer there. I just, you know, if I play on that Sunday, I like to get there that Friday night and Saturday, you know, set up on Saturday a little bit, but Sunday set up and try and sell on Sunday to Sunday. But looks like it's going to be a little later that week. But, you know, if I can get out of Phoenix sometime, you know, in the afternoon, I could get there by Monday night and start selling Tuesday of the week of Augusta.
Yeah, you might be popular with Anna by the time you get there on Monday or Tuesday, depending how logistically that's gone for her.
Exactly.
And I know that you mentioned at the start you're a big fan of Donald Trump, and there's someone else that's a very big Donald Trump fan. Is the great Sam Newman that you met at the US Masters. What's it like to play golf with Donald Trump? And I know you wear his logo on all your shirts.
Yeah, I represent all the Trump golf courses. You'll see a lot of us, we represent the Trump golf courses. And Trump doesn't own too many of them anymore. He just licensed his name out to them, but it's still Trump. And I love Dad because he cares about the American people and he cares about our country. And I think he's done a wonderful job. I know a lot of people say he hasn't, but what he's did with our economy, but it's if you don't know him, you can't imagine what of a great man he really is. And pretty decent golfer. You know, he can hold his own, but he's just enjoyable to be around. He's very, very smart. And it's one of those presidents. He reminds me of Bush Sr. and Bush Jr. that honestly does care about the American people. And to me, that's all a president can ask for and to be. And what's going on now, talking about socialism and all this crap with the liberals that we have in this country, it's insane. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, if you talk socialism or communist, you're going to jail. And now it's in every sentence of the liberals. It's just like, and if people would just understand what's going on in China and all these socialist countries, it turns into be dictators, and dictators are killing innocent people left and right. And I can't fathom the ideal of people voting for Joe Biden, knowing that he's going to go right back to China and make all our big industries that Trump's tried so hard to get to come back to the U.S. and thrive here. And they're all going to end up going back to China. And then, it's just going to be a bad economy again, like it was in the Obama era.
Yeah, well, hopefully it all gets sorted out for the good, for the benefit of everyone. But speaking of another, I'm not saying Trump, celebrities, obviously in politics, another great friend of yours that everyone would know out there is Kid Rock. How did Kid Rock end up playing the game of golf? Was it just the fact that I think I might have seen that he used to just like being at the golf courses, but he never actually played?
Well, I got on him a lot. I mean, I stayed at his house a lot during the Warwick Hills in Michigan, the Buick Classic in Michigan, and stayed with him. And, he'd have some people over. I hit balls in front of him. I said, yeah, I'll do that. You got to play some music, though, and blah, blah, blah. And I think it was like 2000. I can't remember when Warwick Hills ended, but I said, look, it's the last year it's going to be here. Why don't you play in the Pro-Am with me? And I asked him, if you're a member of 6 or 7 country clubs and you don't play the game of golf, why are you a member? He goes, I like to go on the balcony outside and smoke cigars and just watch people hit bad golf shots. And I said, well, you could be that person hitting bad golf shots. He goes, no. If I play, I want to get good at it. And him and Jamie Johnson both said they'd never play the game of golf. And I feel like I got them started. And now it's all about, why am I hitting it this way? Why do I hit it that way? It's not, hey, John, how are you doing? Everything okay? Tell me why I can't make a putt. Tell me why I'm doing it. And I love it. And I love those guys, but they're passionate about it. And it's cool that I got those two kind of started in the game of golf, and they absolutely love the game.
Yeah, no, that's similar. I know Sam Newman's actually played golf with Kid Rock as well, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure he has, yeah.
Yeah. Now, just on the business side of things, is there ever a business deal that you've lost that you would have loved to have kept that would have been a really good one, like where you went, shit, I would have really loved to have kept that one, but something happened?
Well, our vertical grew just recently. We were moving up with our driver, and in Houston, me and Kenny Perry were the longest that week, and Rocco was the straightest, and it wasn't market right. We should have ran ads on that, and I beg Vertical Group, don't come out with a 3-wood yet. Let's thrive on this driver, man. It's great. It's doing great. And
yeah,
they came out with a 3-wood, and 3-wood wasn't up to par. It just wasn't quite as good as the driver statistics wise, and kind of lost it. And that was a deal that I think if the guys at Vertical Group would have listened to the players a little bit, like TaylorMade does, and Tyler and Callaway and everything, I think we could have been a lot better off. But there's not too many business deals I can honestly say. I think for me, just loaning people a lot of money that I thought I'd get back, and I never did, that I was kind of used. That kind of pissed me off over the years. There's millions that's kind of owed to me, and I'll never see it. But you learn and you live. I probably would have pissed it away in a casino anyway. So.
Now, the one that has been, I think, a bit of a hand-in-glove type relationship is, that we've mentioned a few times, is Loudmouth. Like, how you seem like you've had that relationship for around 10 or 12 years now?
Yeah, about 10 years. My longest is Mark Christopher Auto Center since '94. Chris and Mark Leggio, and we're going on 27 years. I don't know how many guys could say they've had a sponsorship that long, much less 10 years. Like I think Tigers had Nike forever, but it's pretty cool, the relationship I have with Loudmouth, watching the company, grow and become very successful. This didn't help, this pandemic. It didn't help. We just signed a big deal with NHL. We were going to launch all the product to all the stadiums, their stores and everything, and we got hit pretty hard with that because we couldn't get in there since the COVID-19. But it's been fun. Loudmouth's been a fun company, and I've enjoyed the ride with them. It's been a blast, and Woody's a genius on the designs, and we've been one of the number one apparel companies over online, like you couldn't believe, and very successful there. And then you go into retail, you take a hit here and there, but we're going to do all right. We're going to come out of this pretty good.
Is there anything that they've actually come to you with that you've said, nah, I'm not wearing that?
Oh, there's been plenty of them. Oh, yeah.
What's one that springs to mind where you go, I cannot wear that?
I can't say it because they've been actually pretty successful.
Speaking of pretty successful, how good has Anna been for you personally, and also probably helped you out from a business sense? She's probably listening to all this, by the way. So whatever you say, you want to be very careful.
No, I mean, Anna's been one of those that's the one of the most supportive human beings in my world, and a woman that I never had that in any other my wives or anything like that, and Anna's got a good business sense, and she's helped me tremendously. And she's computer literate. I'm not. I don't even hardly get on the computer. I think for me, if I start getting on the computer a lot, I won't get out of this house and go play golf and do the things I need to do. So.
Yeah.
Like she set the Zoom call up. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I mean, I just know, hey, I got to talk to Corey at 6 tomorrow. We set it up. Oh, yeah, no problem. Just give him our email. Okay, what's that got to do with Zoom? Well, I've done 6 Zooms already, and I keep forgetting that you got to get my email and okay me or something. So I'm learning. But
so you're learning.
Stuff like that. And, and all my sponsors love her. So, like, if I can't talk to them, I'm doing something that's important, she'll talk to them and say, hey, John, I'll call you back, blah, blah, blah. But it's just the small things that add up that she's just been wonderful. And just she's really helped me a tremendous amount, a lot.
It is it is an interesting question when I was thinking of this. Would a younger John Daly have listened to Anna? That would have been the interest. Do you think younger John would have listened to Anna, or it's just that John is actually ready to listen? Which one is it?
You got a good point there.
You got a very good point.
I don't know, but no other woman would really try to help me the way Anna has. So that's a good question. Probably would have because of the support factor.
Yeah,
I probably would have listened because I actually have support from her. My ex-wives, I didn't have any support from.
Yeah. Well, look, mate, we could sit here and talk all day. I know it's going into dinner time over there, but look, I think everyone out there knows that you're sincerely loved by all the people and all the fans. What you see is what you get, and I think that's what all the Aussies love about you. That is, everyone loves the attitude of John Daly. I think nearly one of the biggest things I can bestow upon you. It's nearly like you nearly are a honorary Australian with your attitude to life, and I think everyone just down here in Australia, loves everything about John Daly. It's just been fantastic to watch. From my own point of view, very, very lucky for someone who's a real golf tragic to be able to call John as one of my mates is an absolute privilege and a thrill. I've still got my ball that you signed. Remember that Pebble Beach ball?
That's right. There you go.
I've still got that. So
I love your country, brother. The people are just awesome there, and I love that country so much, and I miss it. And my buddy Jason Day is from there, and I'm wishing him all the success. And so I love you guys down there, man. Hopefully, we'll see each other soon.
Well, yeah. If it's not at the back end of this year, we'll definitely make sure that we'll catch up. But look, on behalf of everyone, one final one now. I will get killed by a guy that's our major sponsor from National Make Good Solutions. He is a mad Dallas Cowboys fan.
Beautiful.
What he wants to know is what is Stewie Ward is his name, and he's our great sponsor. He wants to know what is going to happen with Dak Prescott.
You know what? I love Dad to death, Dad Jerry Jones, but I don't get him and Steven and Junior's business. But whatever happens, they'll make the right decision. Dak's a hell of a talent, but we did good on offense in the draft. I'm worried about our defense a little bit. I hope we can pick up some free agency players. We lost a lot of guys in our defense, so I'm kind of interested in waiting to see what's going to happen. But our offense is going to be phenomenal. I'm worried about our defense a little bit. So, and I love my Cowboys. So hopefully we'll be able to play this season.
Well, look, I think we'll be playing, but look, I think like everyone out there, you realise the importance of the fans and the people and sort of making sporting events. But just to watch any sporting event now, in a few weeks' time, John, the Australian rules starts in a few weeks' time. So I can start sending you the links to the AFL, and you can, if you want something to watch, you can probably late at night. I don't think the time zone will really work, but if you really want to enjoy some sport, the Aussie rules will be back on. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, are you going to have fans? Are they going to have fans, or?
Look, initially they're not going to have fans, but I think we've gone from a stage of not having fans to now that, like down the track, that they're talking that we'll have fans. So I think, look, as you know, the amount that changes in 1 or 2 months' time with this whole thing is dramatic. So hopefully by the time I'm texting you at Thanksgiving, that everyone's at the Thanksgiving game watching the Dallas Cowboys play, and hopefully you're getting a win on the board.
Yeah, we got the Redskins over Thanksgiving, I think. So that'll be a good time right there.
Yeah. Well, look, like I said, an absolute privilege and an honour to catch up with you once again. It'd be great to be when I'm standing in front of you and then we're having a beer once more. And look, like I said, on behalf of everyone, huge thanks. And it was been an absolute blast.
You got it, Corey. Love you much, brother. And I just want to say hi to all the great people down there in your country. I love them.
Thanks, mate.
You got it, brother. See ya.